there, American Dream Makers. I am Zena Krogedal, your host for today. Good morning. It is a beautiful morning, and I am so glad that you are here with us today. So, before we get started, I would like to just remind you that we are live here on StreamYard. So, please give StreamYard permission. So, go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission so we can see your comments, because we love to have interaction. If you're here, let us know. I have an amazing, dynamic woman. She is a powerful force to be reckoned with. She is doing so many amazing things. So I want to make sure you share this out. This is Linda Kaye, and my goodness, she's got so much going on in her life, and I cannot wait to bring her on. So I'm just not even going to waste my time because she has so much to share with us. So here we go. Here we go. Hi, Linda. How are you?
Hello. Hi, and hi to your audience. Thank you so much for having me this morning. I'm very excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing really well this morning, and really, I'm so glad that you are here with us this morning, Linda, because I'm excited to hear all the things that is going on in your life, because you are always moving and shaking and doing so many amazing, amazing things. You are a powerhouse and an inspiration for sure, because I know you are a commercial realtor in Southern California. So and that's one of the many hats that you wear, but that is something that is just phenomenal, because there's not, in that industry, there's not a real high number of women doing it. So I want to know how you got into that, who you are, and how you got into commercial real estate.
Okay, so I always I like to blame Yo Dude, and I know you're going to go, who the heck is a Yo Dude? This is a funny story, and I'm squeaking here, so I may have to change out my bench here or stop moving. That's what I'll do. I'll stop moving. So years ago, and I'm going to say about 20. Let's see, my daughter is 28, so probably about 21 years ago, I found myself nearly divorced. We were in a recession. .com had already busted, and nobody had, well, I was not going to be able to go back to an industry that I had been in to begin with. And all of a sudden, I found myself, I'm broke. I don't have a job. I am broke. I'm now going through a divorce, and I'm broken. And so I'm like, okay, so I don't know what I'm going to do here. I've got a house, I've got a car, I've got a nanny, I've got a child that I want to keep in this school. What am I going to do? Well, I wouldn't be the first one to say I had some problems, Zena, because everybody does. And it isn't about how many problems can you get through, it's how you get through them, right? And so I looked around and I said, okay, I can't go back to technology, which is where I had spent a good portion of my career. And I said, I got to sell the most expensive thing I can imagine. And I started looking around, and, this is back in 2002. So there, houses weren't the expense that they are today. Okay. I would have made a different choice. But I'm thinking to myself, what's the most expensive thing I can sell? And I thought it had to be real estate. And I also didn't want to travel. I didn't want somebody raising my child. I needed to have the kind of influence, because now she's 4 and 5 years old. And it was really important for me to be able to provide a stable environment, keep the house, keep the neighborhood that we live in. And the only way I could see through this was to be able to sell something really expensive. And so I thought about real estate, and I thought about residential. So I went to some of the broker opens. So a broker open is when the brokers are opening a house that they've just taken to market, and other brokers are going to come in. I wanted to see, what do they think? What did they act like? Because I had a notion and a preconceived notion about educational level, and I wanted to be with people that really were smart. And so I went into a house in my neighborhood, and it's in a Malibu neighborhood. And Yo Dude came in. Now, Yo Dude jumped off of his Jeep, and he had to swing off the Jeep because the tires were bigger than a human body. And so Yo Dude came in and he runs in and his hair is all curly and wild. He's in some cargo shorts and some Hirachi sandals. And he goes, Yo, dude. I'm like, I cannot relate to this Yo Dude, but I credit Yo Dude because if he hadn't given me that locked in impression that I already had, I probably would have gone to residential. But I said, no, I've got to do commercial. And you're right. There aren't that many women in commercial real estate, at least not back in the early 2020s. And I thought, well, what could be so hard about this, really? And I think that anytime you're thinking about going out and doing something brand new, you've got some preconceived notions, but if you're taking your own experience with you, you're moving forward with your own experience, right? So you put aside some of your anxieties. You go, what have I got that I can do already? Well, I already knew I could sell. And I found a company, like a little boutique company in LA that was willing to train. And I went to work for them. And I have not looked back because what I had learned so many, many, many years earlier, Zena, is that when you can sell well, but when you sell well, you can thrive. You don't just survive, you thrive. And I'm sure that you and your listeners have all experienced that. And I'd love to hear some comments from people that are watching or commenting. Tell us all about what they're doing or what their challenges were. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are on here, for sure, put it in the comments. And even if you're watching the replay, because I know a lot of our viewers end up watching the replay. Even if you're watching the replay, we'd love to see the comments in the comment box. Linda, so that is just so inspiring. You found yourself at a place where you were broken, and a single mom. And out of all of that, you were just thinking, okay, what are my talents and what are my skills and what can I build on? And what can I get the biggest commission on? I mean, kudos to you that you just went for it. And as you're speaking, I don't even hear any ounce of fear that was in there. And if it was fear, you just overcame it with such courage and bravery. Tell us about, I guess, the moment. So you sought out a company that was willing to train. What was that like? How did you approach them? What did you say?
Pretty much what I have said to everybody. You'd be lucky to have me. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? Seriously.
Good point. Yeah.
I'm not going to wait for somebody to give me an opinion about myself. I already have one. You need an opinion, I'll give you one too.
And that alone is an inspiration, Linda, because so many women have been where you have been, finding themselves with a marriage that didn't go the way that they had expected when we said I do, and thinking you're going to spend the rest of your life with Prince Charming, right? And that doesn't happen. And so you find yourself like, oh, not only did that part not happen, but then now I'm going to be the only sole provider. So there are many women who struggle with that confidence right off the bat. So I'm going to guess that confidence that you've had has been lingering for some time. So maybe give us a little glimpse of where that has come from.
So early on, very many years ago, I grew up in a family with 7 brothers and a sister, far too distant from my age. And a family of 9 kids, there's a lot of competition for attention. And I understood very early on that I needed to make my own plan or I'd be part of those knuckleheads plans. And that was never going to work out. So I decided to do something that they weren't willing to do. They thought, it's just for girls. And I took a piano. And I not only started playing piano, but I got pretty good at it and went pro at 14. It paid my way through college. And, I wanted a much bigger stage. So I moved to Los Angeles. And I had joined the Musicians Union. In the Musicians Union, they basically said, somebody called and said, hey, if you can put an all-girl band together, then we'll send you off to the Orient. And I did. I went to Filthy McNasty's in North Hollywood, and I found the bass player, the drummer, the guitar player, and I was the keyboard player and singer. And so in our red lame costumes, we became the cherries. And our little motto was given to us at our Bon Voyage party. We may not have the cherry, but we've got the box it came in. Now you got to have some moxie to say something like that.
Yes, you do. That's amazing. You're amazing.
Well, I had very good fortune in that, and I got to travel the world without having to join the military. And I had a lot of fun with it. I also did the Vegas, Tahoe, Reno circuit. I worked with artists like Mac Davis back in the day, Tony Bennett when he was alive, but I got tired of doing living out of the suitcase. So I came back to Los Angeles, and I found myself morphing into an opportunity that literally presented itself. And I took some of the talent that I had in selling a song on stage to selling. I got pretty good at really finding, identifying talent and moving them onto the stage. So as I was exiting the stage, they were coming onto the stage, and I managed what we call first calls. First call musicians, first call singers. And we got into all the studios. I've worked with Quincy Jones, worked with artists, independent promotions. We did all of the trade shows, Arsenio Hall, Ellen DeGeneres. We did a lot of shows, and including all of the award shows like the Grammys, and that was exciting. It was really exciting to have people there on that stage. But when I was taking meetings, because visibility is a very big thing, right? So I would meet my artist up in a very visible, high visibility restaurants on Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood Boulevard. And as I was sitting and waiting for an artist, one person came in and he dropped something on the desk, and I wasn't expecting it. I said, "What's this?" And he goes, "You've been served." Now, if you've ever been served, you know that feeling of dropping out in your stomach, right? You know what it feels like. And I found myself I found myself writing checks, 5,000, 10,000. The only one that was making money was the attorneys. So I thought to myself, well, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. And I applied and went to law school. Wow. And when I got accepted, I moved. I just picked up lock, stock, and barrel and moved to the Bay Area. And I needed a job. So I went to night school. I went to school at night, and I found a job down on the peninsula, down in Palo Alto during the day. And I thought, I could do this. I mean, I really don't know how to do this. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but I took an inside sales job. Now, Zena, you're in sales. You know darn good and well that, you got to like what you're doing, right? You got to be kind of, into what you're doing. I didn't know anything about inside sales. You'll never believe what I was selling.
What were you selling?
Magnetic backup tape drives to the IT professionals.
Wow.
We can say boring. I didn't even know what a backup tape was, let alone a magnetic backup tape to IT professionals. But what I learned was that it was a game. And in sales, there is a lot of gamesmanship. And in that game, what I learned was that if I followed a script and I read that script and followed the formula, I could probably get through a phone call. So 100 calls, 100 dials, 30 calls a day, 20 to 30 conversations. And all I had to do was get them to accept a backup tape as a demo and let me send it out to you. A week later, see if they installed it. A week later, see if they liked it. And a week later, see if they wanted to buy it. And in my first month, you're never going to believe how many I sold.
How many?
0.
Oh.
0. Month 2. 0. Month 3. I'm in the second month, I kind of got the rhythm. I didn't have to use the script. I started to understand what it was that I was saying. It's kind of like having training wheels on a bike. You wouldn't give, a youngster a 10-speed or an off-road bike and say, go for it, right? You would put some training wheels on them. So those training wheels came off in month 2. And I got to be able to understand, to be conversational. And that's really key, is because people love to buy, they hate to be sold. They don't want to hear, a script. They don't want to hear that you're reading something. They want to hear that you're having a conversation with them and that you can communicate with somebody and communicate with them on a level that they understand. You're not talking down to them. You're not talking around them. You're having a conversation. You're bringing value. And in that third month, as I was sitting there making my dials and I'm checking back, did you like it? Yes, I did. Would you like to buy it? Yes, I would. How much is it? 50,000. Okay, I'll take two. What? 100,000. It to me, it was an epiphany. What it taught me was that if I could sell something as boring as a magnetic backup tape drive to an IT professional, and I didn't even know what IT stood for, right? I could sell anything.
And
that
50,000.
was for 50,000, right? For 50,000. I mean, it was empowering, Zena, because what it meant to me was that I can control my future. I can work anywhere. I can do anything. I can sell anything. And that was empowering to me, because now I wouldn't be at somebody's mercy. I wouldn't have to go take a menial task job. That taught me everything I needed to know to move forward in my life. So when that opportunity came up for me to make a change, to make a shift, I had been in the IT world, and this is in the tech world. So being in the tech environment and then having, .com, the .com bubble burst in Y2K in year 2000. I really began to understand how important it was for me to have a skill that I could move forward with. And that skill for me was sales. If I could sell well, I could survive. If I could sell, I could survive. If I could sell well, I would thrive. And that is something that has served me. I know a lot of your listeners are thinking, how do I make my dream come true? How find that portion of you that you really want to do. Find that passionate part of you that says, why do I want to do it? If you can figure out the why, when you understand your why and your why is big enough, you'll get out of bed. You'll make those phone calls. For me, my why at that time in my life, before I moved into commercial real estate, was my child. She was only 5 years old when this happened. It wasn't her fault I had a divorce. It wasn't her fault that I couldn't afford things. But for me, my why was, I must keep her in this environment. I don't care what I have to do to keep this house. I'm going to keep the house. And, I think many people give up too soon. It's tough. It's hard. Okay. Yeah. Nobody promised you a rose garden, as the song goes, right? And you've got to keep going when it gets tough. But when you understand who you are, when you understand your value, when you understand what you can help other people achieve, there's the magic in that. It's total magic for me.
Oh, I can hear the passion in your voice when you speak. And, to go 2 months without selling anything. And you're right. Most people would have been like, okay, maybe this isn't meant for me. I'm going to go find something else. But not you. You kept going and you ended up selling not one, but two $50,000 magnetic tapes for backup. And back then, that's not the inflation that we have today. Back then, $50,000 was even more money than it is today, right? I mean, it was a little bit of growth. So
yeah, it was the equivalent of selling a small house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be frank, depending on where you are. Of course, I'm in California, so the valuations are much different here. But 21 years ago in the Bay Area, in certain parts of the Bay Area, $50,000 would get you pretty close to having a 50% down payment on your house. Today, you can't touch that. But yeah, I found the joy in that. For me, was I brought something of value to somebody. I was able to communicate with them and communicate that value on their level. There was nothing pushy about what I was doing. There was nothing unusual or creepy or weird, salesy about what I was doing. It was just bringing true value. And listen, if you've ever sold anything, you understand what I'm saying is bring value to somebody. Don't look at it as, hey, I can make a buck off of this. That's the benefit. That's the side benefit. That's the collateral that you get when you've done something of great value. I'm sure, Zena, that you think about, how people will think and what they will be and how they will live in the houses that you sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
not thinking about, hey, I could pay my mortgage with this and I can get, because what we're doing in this kind of a business is it's not a day job. It's a commitment.
Yes.
It's a difference. It's the difference of being interested and being committed.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to somebody the other day. He says, yeah, it's the chicken and the egg. I said the chicken and the bacon, right? Or sorry, the egg and the bacon. The egg, which can be reproduced and reproduced and reproduced until you can't produce anymore. Well, that's interest, right? But the pig, that's committed.
Mm.
And
That's great. I haven't heard that. That's and you know what? And that is a great analogy for sure, because doing commercial real estate, and as you know, I do have been learning some of that, doing some of that as well. And it is a whole different ball game than residential. There's a lot of moving parts. And you talk about commitment. These are longer transactions. They're not, necessarily 30 to 45-day closes. There's a lot of due diligence that has to happen. A lot of things have to fall into place, and it's a lot of money exchange. So therefore, it takes a little bit more time to kind of get to the finish line. So you have to be very committed to doing it. And sometimes I don't know about you, but sometimes in the middle of the night, I'm sleeping and I'm thinking, how do we work this out? How are we going to make this work for our clients? How are we going to take this to the finish line? Because, every transaction is very different. It is not necessarily textbook. Every transaction has its elements. So as you have processed, and obviously you are a great problem solver, you are a go-getter. I have not heard one woe is me comment in there as you're telling about all these challenges that you have had along the way, but you've only focused on how am I going to make this work? And that's the tenacity that sets you apart from other agents, because not everybody has that level of commitment as you have described. So tell me, as you come along, you started up, you found a company that was willing to train you. And how long did it take you to make your first commission sale once you decided to launch into commercial real estate?
I'm a little unusual, Zena, in that I never thought I couldn't. Okay. Even though it was a brand new business, it never occurred to me that I wouldn't be successful at it. It never once occurred to me. I'm learning some things. And I went to work for a boutique kind of company. And I'm going to say I probably started in May, probably in the spring, April or May. I'm pretty sure I did. And so I interviewed companies. I already knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do commercial. I didn't know anything about what kind of commercial, or that there were 4 different types of commercial. That's how ignorant I was. And I thought, well, when people would ask me, well, what kind of real estate do you want to sell? I'm like, I, I don't understand your question. Could you repeat that? Right? Because I didn't know. And they said, well, do you want to do retail, or do you want to do multifamily or industrial or development? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't even know what half those, but I know a lot about shopping. So I selected retail. Shopping centers. Yes, I love shopping. So that's got to be easy, right? Well, I moved from the Valley office to the West Side office after the summer, because I'm like, I'm not going to spend my time out in the valley in the summer. And in the fall, I came to the West Side, and I was assigned to a senior agent, and the senior agent basically said, yeah, here's your leads, and handed me a big, a big book. I'm like, what kind of leads are these? She says, well, all the property owners are in here, and you can just find a phone number and then just start calling. I'm thinking to myself, how tough is this? I got phone numbers, and I can make up my own, the script in my own mind. And I know I can talk to anybody. So I literally had, within 30 days, I had a transaction that was probably, it was two multifamily unit, two multifamily buildings, 12 units a piece. So a 24 unit in total. And I knew that, and the senior said, yeah, we'll just split everything half and half. And I was working with a boutique company that would take half also. So you're thinking to yourself, well, at least a quarter of the commission should be coming in, right? But I didn't understand that there are two sides. So when we closed the transaction, I was expecting $60,000. And imagine my shock, not awe, shock of looking at that check and going, $12,000. Where's the rest of my money? And I march in to go see the office manager, and she goes, we only took 50%. So why don't you go talk to your senior? So I go and talk to the senior, and I said, I thought we were doing a 50-50 deal. She goes, yeah, we did. I said, well, I don't know what kind of math you've got, but I think your calculator is broken. I expected 60,000. And she said, wait a minute. How do you calculate this? And I said, well, the buyer did this, then the seller did that, and it was the total. And I took that, divided it in half again, and I came up with 60,000. She goes, wait a minute. Are you suggesting that you get a portion of my buyer that I brought? And I said, well, yeah, that's called 50-50. She goes, no. I get all of my buyer. I don't need your help with the buyer. You needed help with the seller, and I helped you. So I'm taking 50% of that. So on one side, in a fell swoop, $120,000 commission became $12,000 to me. I was so mad. I felt taken advantage of. I felt angry. I felt just hostile. I left the company. Now, it would be another year before I would figure out, gee, that was maybe a little quick, a little reactive, you think? So, and I learned a lot of things from other people, but here's what I can tell you. Tenacity. Tenacity is when you're willing to get up and keep going when others have quit. Tenacity is the part of you that says, I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to take one step at a time, and I'm going to keep moving, and I'm going to keep taking that step forward until I find something. Today, I can tell you that I have made a decision to make it a lot easier for people coming into the industry. And the gift that I'm about to give is really a very sincere offer to tell you that I will be teaching a course, a commercial course. And I'm going to be recording this in November. This will be available through US Realty. And US Realty is, they were called California Realty School, the largest real estate school here in California, and they went national. So I am going to be doing a course, a commercial course. I go into the studio next month and I start recording. That course is a 10-module course. And for those of you that are listening, if you will offer, I'm going to offer you a 10% discount on that course, because I do not set the price on the course. I am teaching, I am facilitating the course. I will tell you my nuggets. I will tell you how to translate, how to convert, how to have a conversation with somebody, and how, more importantly, to speak the language of commercial sales. When you understand what a cap rate is, or your NOI from your ROI, these are acronyms that don't mean a whole lot to you until you really begin to distill it down to, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's the formula. The formula that I got and the gift that I got in oh gosh, I'm going to say back in that gift before when I went to law school, that gift of being told how to profile, how to script, how to do something, that gave me a gift, and it meant that I could feed myself. I'm going to give you that gift to be able to have that conversation with a prospect of yours. Because in real estate, it's all about relationships. You can have a relationship with somebody, and then the manager goes, well, you've never done that transaction or that kind of transaction, so I'm going to take it away from you. I'm going to give you the gift of knowledge, shortcuts. I learned how to do it, and I learned how to take the right shortcuts so you don't have to. So that's my gift to you.
That's awesome. So anybody that wants to sign up, how do they sign up for this?
Here's what I would recommend. I think that you can find me, lindak360.com, LINDAK360.com. And that you'll be able to reach me. You can call me, you can email me, you can also find out the other things that I'm doing. I also teach this privately. I coach my legacy clients, and my legacy clients send their kids to me so they can learn how to do this. And it's really a rewarding experience. I teach people how to be able to feed themselves, teach them how to fish, and they can feed themselves for life.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome, Linda. And it is
So let's correct that. No, it's LINDAK, no AYE.
Oh, just the letter K. Okay.
Just the letter K. Yeah, so put that one back up.
Got it.
There you go, LindaK360.com.
You
You can also see some videos on me. I also do a podcast called Money Talk. And I talk with people just like you, Zena, and find out what makes them tick, what makes their business successful. So I'm doing a whole lot of things. I've got a couple of books coming out. I'm an author. I did a book with my mom, Miracles on My Doorstep, which became an international best-selling. We're doing a sequel to that. And so, yeah, life's all about keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself relevant, keeping yourself interested and interesting.
That's for sure. And how I met you, Linda, was at a business conference at Rock Your Life with Craig Duswalt.
Yep.
And so I see that you are constantly learning and growing and doing things. And that's something that my husband and I had decided last year, was that we wanted to expand our knowledge outside of the real estate industry. And so we started going, taking conferences outside of the industry and going into entrepreneurial type of conferences. And not all real estate agents do that. Many of them just stay within the real estate industry when they're going to conferences. So how long have you been doing business conferences, and along with your real estate stuff? But when did you add the business aspect to it, or has that always been at the beginning?
I would say, because it really wasn't all that popular. I mean, outside of, events like Walking on Fire with Tony Robbins, or, you'll see, I've always been interested in personal development, but the business side of it, like how to do a funnel and why a funnel, or why a nurture campaign or a CRM or any of these other things, that was all new to me. CRM wasn't new to me, but how to and why to nurture, and the nurturing campaigns and podcasts and everything else, writing a book even, that was really only about 3 years ago. And so, adding another dimension to, my skill set, I think that's important. I think it's important that your clients see you in a way that they can see themselves, or that they are also doing themselves, or that they know that they can trust you. And what better way to get people to know, like, and trust you than to be doing videos, or showing your best stuff when you're putting it out there. That's how people get to know you. That they get to see, do I like what she says? Does that resonate with me? Or how can I get more of that of Linda? So, that prompted me to start becoming much more active on my social media platforms, from Instagram, TikTok to Facebook, LinkedIn. And you'll find me under my company name, which is Open Roads Realty, or Linda Kaye Today, which is where I'm coaching and talking a lot. Or just reach out to me at Linda Kaye 360.
Yeah, that's so exciting, Linda. You are absolutely an American dream maker and making dreams come true for so many people. And so I just applaud you for the courage and the tenacity, the persistence, and the confidence that you have had, and what an example you have been to your own daughter. I can imagine having someone like you as their mother, just having that confidence level, that she had a very good step ahead of many of her peers. So, Linda, what else would you leave with us? We have a few more minutes left. And for those that are at a crossroad themselves right now, because we are, the economy, everybody is feeling the transition, the wind of change, the whatever you want to call it, and people are feeling like it's time possibly for a change, and they may be feeling scared of the unknown, not sure what to do. What is your advice to them as they look at the end of this third quarter here and looking into the new year? What would you advise them to do?
I would say, first and foremost, understand trends. So when the last recession hit, this is 2008, okay, when the entire market and the real estate market had a complete meltdown. For us, Zena, in real estate, when we sell real estate or we buy real estate, it doesn't make any difference which side you're on, does it? Are you on the list side or are you on the buy side? It doesn't make any difference. And when a market shifts, the market shifting has a lot of emotion with it. It's like the stock market, right? So in the stock market, the shift, the winds of change will change the fortunes of many, many men in seconds, right? And in real estate, it's not as liquid. So if you are a seller and we're sitting on the fence about whether or not you were going to sell your house, you may have just missed the market. Why? Because when it cost more for money than it did, and it doubled from a year ago, the cost of money literally doubled. You start looking at that going, how much mortgage can I afford? Because it's all about cash flow, right? How much cash flow can I afford to put into a mortgage? For the residential owners are like, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. I want more. Unrealistic expectations. The most important thing you can do as an agent is really help the owner of that property understand what the market is doing, what the trend is doing, because as it costs more for money, the price is going to go down. There aren't too many places in there that you could play with that number. And it's the same in commercial. It's less emotional. It may be urgent, especially if you're in exchange. You've just sold a property and you want to avoid capital gains. That IRS code 1031 allows you to defer that and buy something else without having to pay the capital gains, 35-40%, right? That's huge. So as an agent sitting on either side, you need to understand what the trends are doing. What's the market doing? The market is about to shift again. But how long can you wait for that shift? If you're in residential and you could afford to sit and wait, and you don't need to sell that property, then good, sit on it and wait, because the market will shift in about another year to 15 months. Okay, where the interest rates will continue to go down. They're not going to go down overnight. We saw them do a run up. It took a year. Guess what? That easing is going to take more than a year. Think about it for a second. If the interest rates are now at a 7.25, 7.5, and for those that don't have great credit, 11 and 12%, oh dear God, take me back to the 1976 and gas lines and 13%, 15%, 18% interest. That's where we are. So I would say that if you're an agent, understand what the trends are, know where you are. If you're new to the market, you're going to be waiting a bit. How long can you wait? I always tell my new agents, you better have 6 months of income for your expenses to come into the market. In a market that's tight like it is right now, it might take a little bit longer. So prospect, get to know your people, and what better sphere of influence than people that you already know. Ask, let people know what you're doing. I'm new to real estate. Well, that may not garner the highest and best amount of confidence from somebody when you ask them if you can sell their property. So again, position yourself with a senior that understands how to do this. Position yourself with your friends and your family, and expand your sphere of influence. If you've been in the market for about a year or even 2 years, understand that the shift is coming. Go back and learn. Go back and understand. Go out to Amazon and pull up Gary Keller's book, Shift. It will talk to you about how to take on the market and the shift in the market. If you're in commercial, it doesn't make any difference if you're on the buy side or you're on the sell side, in an up market or a down market. Have some confidence to understand what your market is doing, and make sure that you're communicating that, because it communicates value and understanding and perception to your market, to your prospects. When your prospects understand that you get what the market's doing, they'll have a lot of confidence in you, and they'll bring you their transaction. And don't give up. Don't give up too early. There are plenty of stories about how miners were just literally a half inch away from being able to break through a wall and get oxygen in a mining accident, and giving up and dying where they were. Don't die in place. Keep moving.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing all that, Linda. That's just very exciting, all the things that are going on, and that you are taking that next step and coaching other agents to do and to basically shave off many years. And that is a gift. That's a gift that you are going to teach agents to not make the mistakes that you've made, and to accelerate and bypass and do those things. Thank you so much for your added contribution to making a difference in this world. And you are a bright light, Linda, and just keep shining. I am so blessed that you are in my sphere of influence. I'm so blessed to have you, a phone call away. And so everyone, for sure, make sure you get a hold of Linda at lindakay360.com. Absolutely connect with her. And also, if you know anyone that is in the commercial need of real estate in Southern California, Linda Kaye is the lady.
Don't limit yourself to Southern California. I'm licensed, and I am a broker in the state of California.
In the whole state. There you go. There you have it, you guys. So if you are moving, shaking, and looking at expanding or starting a new business, needing some commercial real estate, she is your gal. She is very, very knowledgeable, very experienced. So it's always difficult for me to say goodbye to my guests, because I always have so much fun when I'm doing this, and I learn so much. And Linda, you are, again, just a true inspiration. And so I will say goodbye for now, and absolutely, we will stay in touch. So
bye for now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you guys for being here on American Dream Makers. I am so just so blessed that we had someone like Linda Kaye on here to give us so many nuggets of wisdom. So please be sure to share this out. Find me on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you. American Dream Makers, I do believe that the American dream belongs to all of us, and not only can you achieve it, but you can go beyond. And so I would love to hear from you all. And I'm going to say goodbye for now, and have a very, very great day.